It's really interesting. Every day throughout our lives, we make millions of choices, like tiny choices. What to eat for breakfast, what job to take, what job not to take, who to marry, when to get a divorce. And tonight, which envelope to choose. But maybe these are not choices. All of our lives we're given choices, but they're not really choices. They're all forced on us. It's the illusion of free will. Maybe. If you don't mind, can you please make your way to the stage? And what about you, sir? Please make your way to the stage. Sir, if you don't mind, please make your way to the stage. And I will ask you to please make your way to the stage. If you don't mind, form a line right here. Okay, you can switch places here. And then 1, 2, 3. And please come a little closer to me. Okay, we're going to try to do something very, very special. If you were to name one of these envelopes between 1 and 5, what would you name?
1.
1. Is it because it's 1 or?
Random.
Okay. It felt like a free choice, yes? If you don't mind, can you hold it like this so everybody can see? Yeah? Can you please name another number? Obviously, you have one less choice to make, but 5, which is the other end of the spectrum, which is a very, very interesting choice. Okay. If you don't mind, just, again, you hold on to it like that. And 1 and 5 is out of the question, so 3, 4, and 2. So what would you make?
2.
Are you sure?
Positive.
No change? Okay. It's all their choices. And you can hold it like this, and everybody can see. 3, it's up to you. 3 or 4.
4.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Not 3.
Yes, I'll go.
I'm going to give you 5 seconds to really change your mind, if you want to change your mind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
4.
4 it is?
4 it is.
That's it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all meant to be. It's all meant to be. I actually, believe it or not, really tried my best so none of them will choose number 3. I really, really wanted them to avoid number 3. This envelope contains something I did not want you to have. Something I want to keep for myself. If you don't mind, keep it a bit higher and just remove the flap and remove what's inside. Remove what's inside. You just tear it open. Yeah, you can just pull it. Yeah. And what does this look like?
It's a check.
A personal check, correct? Personal check. And there's something written on the very back of this, and I want you to read it in a clear, loud voice, please.
The amount of money
Yes?
on this check will be given to the person who who chooses this envelope.
So the amount of money on this check was to be given to the person who chooses this. The question is, how much? And it's a very interesting amount. Can you read the amount in a clear, loud voice? 4,000, please.
4,251.
Hold on. 4,251. That's the amount, yes?
That's the amount.
You know, it's interesting. I did not just try to make you avoid taking my check. I want you specifically to choose each individual envelope like that. Can you open the flap, and remove the content, but don't read it yet. We need to build up the drama. One at a time, please. For the first time, in a clear, loud voice, read what your card says.
This will be chosen by the only lady in the group.
Yes. Can you read yours out loud?
This will be chosen by the only guy with eyewear.
Please.
This will be chosen by the only guy with facial hair.
Can you, if you don't mind, before you read yours, what is your name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Read yours out loud.
This will be chosen by a guy named Ryan.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you so 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 very much. Give him some. Come on. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I would like to walk you through the preparation of these of this trick, the first thing you want to do is to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 envelopes. And these are the number 1 envelopes. You can find them in Staples and anywhere else. And this is going to be a mock-up. I'm going to take 5 business cards, which happens to be about the size of the envelope. You might need to put a piece of paper or something else. You put it inside, and now you're going to seal these. One way of doing it, you can take a little bit of if you don't want to use your tongue, you just do that, and you seal that. I'm going to do it with all of them. I think this would be a great time to fast forward, or maybe we'll speed it on our end. This is the most boring part of the whole thing. This can, really, you can fall asleep during this preparation. And I'm only on the 3rd one, which is amazing because we have 2 more and it's crazy. So this is the 4th one. And you can see I'm not using my tongue, not getting all these chemicals. So this is good for those who are on a raw food diet and trying to eat healthy. So that goes here. That's it. So 5 envelopes all sealed with your business card or something thick of the same sort. I'm going to write on them with a China marker. And just a small tip. I found a cap that fits here. You might have to try a bunch of them. I don't even know what's the name of this. I just found it in my drawer. And it just keeps it from dirtying your stuff in your case, or your pocket, wherever you put it. So I'm going to put, and I'm going to write it the same way I'm going to write with the nail writer. So very loose, very quick, like 1. And then 2. I'm not trying to be neat or anything because I'm trying to emulate the way I'm going to write it later on. This is 4. And also I'm doing it in one shot, 5. One continuous line. So we have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the audience management, props management segment, I'm going to go through what do we do with these, where do we put them, and so forth. But that's what you need. 5 envelopes numbered and sealed. Now, we're going to prepare the other set of envelopes, and the first thing I will need is a check. These are checks from an account that no longer I do business with, and I find this paper to be a little bit flimsy. So at first, when I started using this routine, I would use this kind of checks. But then I realized that it's much better if you print it on a thicker stock, like this one. This is a fake check, obviously, but it's on a much, much thicker paper. And what do we need to prepare it for? So first I'm going to write a message right here that somebody's going to read. Make sure you write in the same orientation as this one, so it's not upside down or something like that. So I'm going to do it right about here. Now to make it more clear, I'm going to write it with a Sharpie. Because this part, I want someone to be able to read it very, very easily. And I'm trying to write as legible as I can. My handwriting is awful, but so I'm going to make a huge effort right now. So that's why I'm going to be very slow. So I'm going to write the amount of, of money on this check will be given to the person who chooses, 2 O's, I always forget them usually, this envelope. Now, as you can see, I'm not writing on this quarter. It's just like a security message here, and that helps us. I have a feeling that the banks have put this one, especially for this trick. They kind of knew that I will need that space. And what I mean is, like, when I'm writing, I'm not in his way. I can write it like that, and I can do all my nail writing right here. On this side, this time with a China marker, I'm going to write April 1st, 14. Obviously, you will need to put the date of your performance. And then pay to the order of whoever chooses. And that's all I write. And then I sign, I put here show. And in the amount, you can write something that's almost like gibberish, something that's not legible. But I always write like 5,000 And I keep writing blah, blah, blah. I literally just put some marks so it looks like something. And once this is all done, I'm going to put it inside an envelope, just like before. This gets sealed. By the way, don't seal it so the number is here. I like to seal it in this way. And I tell you why. Just for that keen observer who can see that this is blank, I don't like that guy. I don't want him to see it. So that goes inside. It's folded into, it's a trifold. It goes inside. And I'm going to seal the envelope. This time, I'm going to seal it a little differently than before. I'm not going to seal the whole thing. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to take a dab of moisture from my napkin there, and then only that part is going to get glued. And I'm also going to bend the edges out and then put some pressure. Why am I doing this? I found that it takes a long time for people to open an envelope, and that is in showbiz called dead time. So I don't want that to happen. So I give them a fair chance to open it very quickly. So that's the first envelope. Now we need 4 business cards. 4 business cards and 4 number 1 manila envelopes. Okay. So the first envelope of the 4 will have a business card, but this one is going to contain an information. The information is this envelope will be chosen by the only lady in the group. That's your first prediction. And once I put it inside and seal it in exactly the same manner, I put a little bit of moisture there, just in the center. And again, you can bend it a bit. So just it suggests to them, oh, it calls their name. Oh, you should pry it from here. Because people don't know what to do. It's amazing. But laymen on stage, they become like so paranoid about anything. I will need to mark this. Normally, I will put a very, very faint dot. But for the sake of clarity, I'm going to use the Sharpie. You're going to use a very hard pencil. I'm just going to put 1 dot here so you can see it. That's my first one. Second one, I'm going to write this, either envelope or this will be chosen by a guy wearing glasses, with the hope that this is the right spelling. You never know how many, I don't know. So, by the way, all of these can change. It doesn't have to be a lady, it doesn't need to be a guy with glasses, it could be anything. This is what I chose to do. I've varied it every now and then, but for the most part, I find this to work for me. And again, a little moisture there, and put, and bend, and bend. And again, the mark, usually with a pencil, but this time, 2 dots. I also find this to be a mnemonic, because the two dots, oh, it's so hard to say, they look like glasses to me. And 1, from a mnemonic point of view, is the only one, the only girl. So I like that it helps you. If you ever forget, if you ever blank, you have those to help you. We're going to the third one. This will be chosen by a guy with facial hair. Now, there's a reason I'm not committing to a beard or anything, because some people have goatees, some people have a mustache. Facial hair leaves some room for some mistakes or not so accurate. So this goes inside, sealed, and you've guessed it, 1, 2, 3 dots. And for me, the mnemonic is the 3 dots create this triangle that looks like a beard. Makes sense to me. The last one, this will be chosen by a guy. By the way, don't rush like me. Make it really legible. You don't want anybody to say, this will be, what did you write? You really want to be clear. This will be chosen by a guy named and we don't know the name. So how do we know the name? Before the show, we shake someone's hand, oh, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Or someone tells us, or somebody calls his friend's name. Or, there are a million ways. You get the name somehow. And let's assume it's Ryan. Ryan. So this goes inside and gets sealed. Sometimes you need to put pressure for a little bit of time until it really adheres to it. And I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want to clarify, all of these marks will be done with a pencil, not the Sharpie. Do not get confused. Now, we have the check, we have the guy's name, we have the bearded guy, we have the guy who cannot see and needs glasses, and the only lady in the group. 1, 2, 3, 4, blank. That's the check. And I'm basically now ready for my nail writing sequence, which will be covered in the management segment of this DVD. So I would love to walk you through the whole management of the routine. I'm not talking about preparation or anything like this. Is a whole different segment. We're talking about props management, audience management. Today we have 4 Dominicans from the Dominican Republic. It's hilarious. So they're going to represent the 4 people I'm going to invite. But before we do that, let's talk about props management. So by now, I hope you all prepared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 envelopes, all numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're all sealed envelopes. And there's something inside. These go into the pocket. We'll talk about it in a second. The second set of envelopes, again, 5 blanks, but these have predictions in them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they're also marked, not as obvious as these, but 1, 2 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots, and nothing. That's also some sort of a mark. So now, once I have these 2 sets, in my right pocket I have a deck of cards. It's not a card trick, we're not going to incorporate cards into this, but what I do, I put this stack here and this stack on the other side. And all of this will go into my pocket this way. It's, so I know that this packet, the numbered one, is going to be closer to the front of the pocket. And my nail writer, my boon, I prefer the boon for many reasons. We'll talk about this in a second. I do put it in my pocket, in my pants pocket. Now normally I wear a suit, so it's easier access to it. You don't need to, it's easier to retrieve it and take it in and out. Now, I'm basically ready. That's basically all you need, and that's something I do like about it, that you don't need much to do this routine, just 2 sets of envelopes, and you need your Swami gimmick. So now, here's something that's very important. I take the envelopes out and I talk about choices, and I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different choices. The reason I'm showing these is because I want people to burn this image in their mind. It's important to me. You don't have to do a switch. You can do what they used to do, just work with 1 set of envelopes, which is the other one, and have a China marker that's been, how do you call it, like finished, so it can't write, varnished. So you can go, you pretend to write, but it maybe makes a sound 1, you write 2, 3, and 4. You write it to yourself without showing it. But I feel like showing it is a good image for them to remember. So I'll show you what I choose to do, but feel free to use just 1 set of envelopes. I show it, I talk about choices, I make them realize these are enveloped, numbered envelopes. I want them to remember that. Now I'm in the process of getting people to the stage. They're not here yet. I'm going to get them now. So in the process of getting people, I have to get 4 people, and I go around and I move around between aisles and stuff. I say, won't you come? At some point, I will put in my pocket, and nothing to hide or anything. I put it out and say, please come up, okay? And now I'm going to retrieve those envelopes. At this point, and all of them, by the way, make sure, all 5 envelopes. It's important that you realize that people, they're not chasing you. They don't know what's going to happen. So you don't need to point out these are the same numbered envelopes. You don't need to. Just move them out and act as if these are the same envelopes that they've just seen. There's no reason for them to suspect a switch because it's not that kind of a trick. Now, when I relax, I put my hand in my pocket and I say, oh, thank you so very much for coming, blah, blah, blah. And in a second, I'm going to steal my Swami gimmick. But just to give you a little more clarity, I always invite a lady. And this mannequin will represent a lady, okay? And I position her first. Second mannequin will represent guy with glasses. It's important that this guy does not have any facial hair, only glasses, nothing else that sticks out. And then you have a guy with a facial hair. It could be a mustache, a beard, a goatee, anything that resembles that. And the last one will be, well, this is just Bobby. Nothing, he doesn't have facial hair, he doesn't have glasses, he's not a lady, just Bob. It could work with John or any other. But you need to find a guy that is neutral with all the other elements so it's not confusing. Now, once I have these people, I'm going to have them choose an envelope. And this is the time when I have to go and retrieve my Swami gimmick. I have supposedly 5 numbered envelopes right now. I'm going to go to the first lady and say, if you were to choose a number between 1 and 5, and I always say, if you were to choose. The reason I say, I'm curious, if you were to choose one, I don't want her to go and say, oh, am I supposed to tell you? Am I supposed to reveal that? It's not, I want to drop it. I want to drop all the importance of the choice. I want her to immediately say, yes, I want number blah, blah, blah. So I say, if you were to go with a number, which number would you go? Now remember, her envelope is the first one. It's marked 1. That's for the lady. And it's here. It's ready to be. I can write any number on it, 3, 4, 5, 1, whatever she wants. So let's assume she says 3. When the time is right, I'm going to go and say, okay, so 3, are you sure? Is that just something? Now, the Swami is still here. I can do one of two things. Either hold the envelope from the edge, or first maneuver it to a clip, to clip it between my fingers. And this is something Eric Mead shared with me, and I think it's great. Now, when you're here, I hide the 3 behind these 2 envelopes. And in a very casual way, I will maneuver it as I do this move to the center. Let me show you in full speed what I'm doing. Because she just chose 3, I wrote 3 on the first envelope. I'm going to be here and then maneuver it to the center and say, you could have chosen any one. Are you sure you want 3? Now I can make this stick out and offer it to her to take. And you see, I'm doing this so she doesn't see the other numbers. And you can also do just a little bit, and she will take the envelope number 3, and it looks like she verified that it's number 3. Just a small touch. Doesn't have to be that. You can easily just do that and grab it from here. You see there's nothing really to see because the Swami is hidden. And I say, go ahead and hold it. Now I'm still in order. I'm still 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm still fine. I go to the second guy, and again, the 2 dots resemble the glasses, at least for me. What number would you like? And if he says, let's say 1. If he says 1, I will write 1, but I will not maneuver this envelope. I will immediately just say, oh, great. You hold on to this. Now we have 3, 4, and 5, okay? But don't confuse. Don't say which one do you want, 3, 4, or 5. You need to be aware of the numbers that were already given. 1 and 3 is out of the question. So I always start with 1 and 3 is out of the question. So you can only go with 2. I look at the blank between the 2 numbers, 2. You can go with 4 or 5. And it helps if you actually look, 2, 4, or 5. So it looks as if you're reading. It's a missed call of some sort. So what number would you like? And this guy says, I don't know, I would like number 4. So now I'm going to write 4, and again I'm writing 4, and again you can, if you want to, just do that, move it to the center, just so it doesn't look like it's coming in order or anything like that. I like to mix it up. I take it, I give it to this guy to hold, and now I'm down to 2. 50-50, I stress it out. It's easier to go with number 2 or number 5, Okay, and now you see, I'm not committing really to an envelope. I don't say 2 and 5. I say 2 or 5 together, because I don't want them to think that if this is 2, therefore I don't want to suspect that, although they don't. So what number would you like? And he says, I want number 2, and immediately I write number 2. I'm ready. I give it to him. Now you can take a little time. See, it's interesting, because I really wanted you to avoid number 5, which is what I have. Now, very casually, I can write it. I can write it, by the way, in steps, so it doesn't look like you're doing something. It's up to you. So you say, look, I want you all to avoid envelope number 5. I do not want any of you to choose it. Keep in mind, I'm not rushing to get rid of my nail writer. Not. Because now I'm going to hand it to somebody. And remember, this is the easy to open kind of sealment. And I'm going to ask him to verify it's sealed. Nothing, there's no slits or anything. Open it. He opens the envelope. So it was fairly easy. And then he takes it out. Takes the check out. I first open the check quickly. I'm going to hide the portion where the amount's supposed to be, and I'm going to hide it. Say, what does it look like? It will say immediately a check. I say, okay, a personal check. And now I'm turning it over. And let's assume the spectator is right there. I ask him to read what's on the message. Keep in mind, I have all this area to hold, to do what I need to do. And I literally, while he's reading, I start writing as neatly as I can, number 2. Then I write number 4. Then I write number 1. Okay? And then number 3. Now, I'm aware it's not the most legible way to write something, but it's legible enough. It's because people are going to trust the person and say, what's the amount? He's going to say $2,413. They're going to trust him, and they don't see how neat or not neat it's written. So the person just finished reading this. It's an effect. Treat it like an effect. Because at this point, they basically realize, oh wow, he made us not choose the only envelope that contains a check. We could have made money, but no, they couldn't. Now after I wrote it, I wait. There are a few scenarios. By the way, during this time, I might take my nail writer, and as I just kind of like jam my thumb in to relax, I can, through the jeans, just let it fall into the pocket. Very easy. You just relax, say, look, you could have won all of this money. By prompting all of this money, somebody, it happens about 50% of the time, somebody's going to ask, how much? And I'm going to act surprised and say, that's what you care about? Okay. Can you read the amount? And he reads, and it's $2,413. And then if they usually connect the dots themselves, but if they don't say, that's interesting, 2,413, which is exactly the order that you created. That is the second effect, in my opinion. It's a very strong effect. Now, you can, by the way, still hold the Swami at this point. Still hold it after he read it. And then when you put the check away, that's when you actually get rid of it. It's another option. It's up to you. That's number 5. So now this is all out. And say there's one more climax. These people are going to open their envelopes. And inside, this will have a business card, and will say, this envelope was chosen by the only lady in the group, and she's going to freak out, and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to take number 1, and he's going to open that, and this will say, this is the only guy wearing glasses, and he's going to, I don't know, do something. Oh, make sure, just a little note, sometimes if you spot somebody in the audience and you say, oh, I'm going to use this guy, he has glasses, and then a second before showtime he takes it out and you realize he doesn't need it for a show, he only needs it for reading or something. Make sure this guy is not going to take them off. It's important. We're now at the guy, this will be chosen by the guy with facial hair. Again, make sure, sometimes they drop it, don't worry about it. Make sure the guy doesn't go to the bathroom midway and shaves. Never happened, but I'm just saying. And this is the finale. This is the most amazing one. I'm dropping things today. Envelopes don't like to be dropped, Vernon used to say. This will be chosen by a guy named Bob. In that, it's funny because there's a million ways I could get his name. But think about the time displacement. Those people were seemingly chosen randomly. I always go, oh, you come and you come and you come. It seems as if I'm not really specifically looking for somebody. And then it's important when you line them up, if you want to line them this way, get your Bob first and say, please stand here. And then get the guy with the beard, stand here. Get the guy with the glasses, stand here. And then get the girls, stand here. It will create this exact order, which you want them to stand exactly in this order. Or sometimes you say, please form line, you can switch places. And immediately after they know, it doesn't matter. And it sounds as if I just suggested that. It wasn't really an intentional instruction. You can switch places if you want, doesn't matter. I immediately say it doesn't matter, just form a line. Just form a line, that's what's important. So you can tweak it, because sometimes people tend to stand here or here. People do those things. So you need to be sure you know where they're standing. And and by the way, those business cards with those predictions should be saved by them. The envelope, I say at the end, you can drop it on the floor, don't worry about it, put it on the table. And that kind of gets rid of the evidence, because these are heavily marked. That is basically it. At the end, they freak out, you can take a bow. What started this routine for me is when I started doing this, I was basically doing Gary Kurtz's ultimate chair prediction. And it's a wonderful routine, and it's using 4 chairs, and there's color, and you have to read about to really get what I'm saying. It's a wonderful routine, and I think it's probably the best chair test there is. The evolution of this routine for me was when I decided to get rid of the chairs. And I made it so it's not about the chairs so much, it's about the people. Because you are revealing something about each person. The only woman in the group, the only guy with glasses, the only person with facial hair, and then the name of the person. So I turned it in such a way that it's about them. And to me that was a point. And then the second point was when I said, oh, it needs to be some sort of a bank night, which in a way is similar to Gary Kurtz's routine, only in my case, I have a check that has a lot of money on it. And the amount is exactly the order in which the envelopes were selected. And that to me created this extra punch. And that's when I start really forming the routine. So let's talk about nail writers. There's so many different nail writers on the market. The one I recommend the most for this routine will be the Boon, B-O-O-N. I buy them from Vernet. You don't pronounce the T, it's Vernet otherwise. It's probably French. Anyway, so it's basically, it looks something like this. It's tiny, it's round, it has a tip. Now there are many kinds of tips. You can get it in pencil, you can get it in some other things, but I use grease pen. The grease pen is the one that really leaves a very strong impression, very bold, and the most readable in my opinion. On the back of this, there's blue tack. Some people put different sticky stuff. I prefer the blue tack. My friend Eric Mead have suggested that for this routine, you can use the box that the card box that I use to divide the 2 sets of envelopes in my pocket as a housing for this, so you can stick it there, so this remains sticky all the time. And also, in the action of retrieving the envelopes or putting them back, you can either take it or get rid of it. Another one that I do like is the Vernet housing. I just started using it, and I find it very interesting. It's a little box, and it has a door. It's magnetic, so when you open it in your pocket, you can steal it, use it, and then when you want, you put it back, so this way you don't lose it and you have it at all times. It is very important to mention that what I like about this Boon the most is that the ability to either finger clip it or here, in a way it gives you the freedom to do something else with your fingers, and I do need it when I am starting to work with the different envelopes. However, This idea is from the Ultimate Cheers Prediction Plus by Gary Kurtz. And by all means, my routine is not better, or it's only different than his. And I highly recommend you take a look into. I know it's rare; it's hard to get this manuscript, but it's beautiful. It's a beautifully written routine, and I think my routine is heavily influenced by Gary Kurtz's. And he talks about the Boone rule in detail, and I highly recommend you take a look at it. He has his own notes there on that. I have to stress out that this routine is very much customizable, meaning it doesn't have to be the only woman in the group, doesn't have to be the guy with the glasses or beard or the name. So just to give you an idea of things I've played with over the years, because sometimes you go to a show and it's only guys or only women or something happens, or everybody's beautifully shaven, or all the people with glasses actually have facial hair. You'll encounter everything. So one of the things you can do, you can have a kid, so the only kid in the group. You can have, instead of the name of the guy, you can say this will be chosen by a guy who is Pisces, and give the astrological sign. And Eric, my friend, he says just a bunch of ideas, suggested that maybe you only put the initials of the guy. So they say the initials of that person is either a J or M. What's your name? Michael. Oh, M, it's Michael. And maybe on the way back as he goes to his seat, he says, does the J make sense though? And he says, yeah, my last name is something with J. I cannot think of a last name with a J. Just Smith. I don't know, something with a J. So the point is, there are many things you can do. So you don't want to point out this will be the ugliest person in the group, or this will be the rudest guy. Really choose things that will make them feel comfortable, make them feel good about themselves, and so forth. But don't go the other extreme, which is this is the most beautiful woman or something, I don't know. But it's all customizable. You can really play with it and you'll come up with some cool stuff. You can push it towards comedy, towards something else. Have fun with it. When you print your fake checks, first of all, make sure you print on both sides. And secondly, when you put the box, make it a little bit bigger so you can nail write your numbers a little bigger and it looks like it fits into the box. So I think that's a cool idea, something you might want to consider. After, again, shooting this DVD and watching the performance again and again and again and trying to find a way to teach it in the best way possible, you also discover your own flaws. Like, for example, when I hold a check, at the beginning I hold it a little bit unnaturally. So at the beginning, try to hold it very casually with few fingers, nothing too bulky. At the end, when you need to nail right, is if you're helping him, you get it closer and then you can do it. But at the beginning, hold it like a piece of paper, like just what it is, nothing more. Another thing that's important and worth mentioning is, remember at the last person I said, okay, you are down to 50-50. You can have this one or this one. And that will make a huge difference. Because think about it, the one he does not choose contains a check. So after he chooses the, let's say, number 3, and I'm with number 4, I open it and say, what is this? A check. And remember, a second ago, you could have had that. Because he was the closest to it. He was in a position where it was 50-50%. So build on that. Make a big deal out of that. Well, not too much. A tiny deal, a medium-sized deal of it. You know, when I start working on this production of putting Catch-23 on a DVD and to explain it, you get to hang with a lot of friends and people that you admire, and their opinion is so valuable, and they give you feedback. So some of the people that I got some feedback from were Jamie and Swiss, Eric Mead, John Lovick, Shimshi, John Graham, Aaron Bitterman, and all these people provided amazing feedback. And it's something that maybe you want to do, not put everything you do on DVD, but think of it as if you're about to teach somebody. So I'm just going over some of the stuff that people have told me, and also being a foreigner, a person who speaks English as a second language, there are few mistakes that I've made in maybe phrasing. So I would suggest that you write the only woman in the group, just to be more politically correct. I don't know why, but that's how it is. Don't say eyewear, say glasses, just to be more specific. Eyewear is a term that's not so good. I have no idea why, but that's what I was told. I'm only delivering what these people told me, so write them if you have a problem. Reverse the phrasing on the back of the check. Lavik told me that, and I think it's a wonderful idea. I write, the amount of money on this check will be given to the only spectator in the group. And he says it's more dramatical if you write, the person who gets to choose this envelope will win or will take all of the money on this. So reverse the phrasing so the amount is actually the punchline. Let's see, I have a few more notes. Learn them English. I don't know, something like that. It said. I don't know what they mean, but stick to card tricks. Somebody told me that, I don't know. So I would like to comment about everything that I see and hear, and try to explain the performance and the handling and everything else, give you some insights, tips, and so forth. So right now I'm basically presenting the idea of choices versus fate, things that are meant to be versus intentional choices. And I'm showing the envelopes. I want them to remember that they've seen numbers on these envelopes. It's very important, as I say in the explanation segment. And now I'm inviting the people to the stage. And as you can see, I'm trying to create the feel that these people are chosen randomly. I'm not aiming anyone, you. It's the choice of words, attitude, and so forth. I'm asking these two to switch because I need them to be in a certain arrangement. So now I put the envelopes in my pocket casually and then take out the other set. Again, there's so much movement, so much commotion that it doesn't matter. I ask her to choose a number. She says 1. I say why 1, and I write it with the nail writer. Now, as you can see, I did not have to maneuver the envelope. I moved to the next guy. What do you want? He's going to go for 5. Now, I cannot take the second envelope, so I am going to cut it to the top, so it looks like it comes from the other side. It's again to create the random feeling that the envelopes are coming from different places. Are you sure? No change? It's all their choices.
The next envelope is number 2, so it makes sense it will be the next one in line. And then 3 and 4, again, I don't commit to a number per se, which envelope is which number. And I like to give him the choice to change his mind as many times as he wants, because the moment he sets on an envelope, he's going to leave me with 1. And now I need to make them care about it. Because in a second, he could have had the one that contains the check. He missed it by 1. So it's important to stress it out. I've not written the whole thing. I'm still holding my nail writer. It's still on me. I'm holding the envelope in such a way that it's in full view. I cannot sneak anything in or out. It's important. I give it to the person to open. And you'll see, even though it's an easier envelope to open, people still struggle. So it's important that you do it in such a way that it's easier. Now I'm covering the amount, as you can see. I'm getting ready to write my numbers. And as soon as he starts reading the message, my thumb is busy writing the numbers. And I just finished writing the amount on the back of this check in the right box. My hands drop. Still holding the Swami. And now I draw attention to the fact that the amount is a special amount. It's a random number. And as soon as they read the number, you'll see the audience reacts. They realize, I don't know if you caught Ryan's reaction, and it's a big effect.
It's interesting. I did not just try to make
Now it's time to get rid of the Swami and the check and go to the individual envelopes. And each one of them needs to build up. They can't be all on the same level. So here's a great tip. Ask them to open the envelopes and remove the content, but do not look at them because you want them to be able to read it right away, so you don't wait for another person to open it. So first effect, the lady, only lady in the group. It's a good one. It's 1 out of 4. Now the audience doesn't know what I'm going to go for. Am I going to go to the fact that he's bald? Am I going to go for that? I'm going for glasses. They need to kind of pay attention. And again, they may be guessing that I'm going to go for the beard. But the last one needs to top all of them. And again, the audience does. What is he going to go for now? They're guessing. They don't know. That's what goes into mind, I assume. I verify his name before, and then he reads. He thinks I was able to predict his name in this randomness. They don't go to the easy solution that I just shook his hand an hour before and say, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Asi. Thank you so much for coming. That's about it. That's how I got it.